Just a disclaimer before we start the video and get into it. If you know what you're doing in sprint cars, your A-class, high I rating, you probably won't find too much information that useful for you. You probably know the ins and outs of how sprint car works in this game and what to tweak. But for any newcomers that are struggling with driving them, they're a little bit too wild for their liking, this is how I like to tweak a car. Not lose too much pace, if any. Hopefully that's the goal, is not to lose any pace. But make it a lot more safer to drive, finish more A mains, and just suit your style more. For me, just driving better like that, much more my style. Just the inputs I like to do, it seems to work with. And I have found over the course of my races, I do much better with a tighter car like. Today we're going to talk about sprint cars in iRacing, and something that's kind of, it's almost bugged me a little bit, and it's with kind of trying to set the cars up. So a lot of the time when you start with it, the basic setup can be hit and miss with some cars. So for instance, I know that V8 supercars road can sometimes be quite good. The baseline setup, a few tweaks and you're good to go. Dirt, especially when things get really wild on the track, when all the dirt's gone from the inside, there's heaps of bumps, just rough as guts. Baseline setup can be a real nightmare. I had a lot of trouble, especially when I was kind of starting off with the sprint cars, because you come in on a setup that's not very good, and if you hit a slick spot, rip sideways, you're in a whole lot of trouble, because not only are you heading for the infield or back into traffic, because you've slowed up so quickly, you've lost momentum, people have got away from you, you're going to get rear-ended damage, and it happens a lot, especially with newcomers. So hopefully this helps you guys out. We're going to jump into USA International down here, where I'm going to run you through exactly what I would do. Now I'm only 1600 rating currently with dirt. So I mean, take this with a grain of salt, take it as you wish, but it's some basic principles that I've learnt and how to set a car up, a couple like themes you want to follow, and you know, 9 out of 10 times it'll drive so much better. So I'm going to do it live for you right now. Baseline setup, as well as the tweaks to a proper paid subscription setup, like things you'll get from Craig's Setup Shop, VRS, all the ones that, you know, have these hidden special setups to get like the record times. Even those I find are just too loose. They'll come in, if you hit shitty spots on the track, they get too loose. They're fast, sure, but they're hard to control. And I like to finish a race rather than get that one quick lap in there. This, to me, just doesn't work. I like this drive style. It might be a bit safer for you as well. So we'll go to the baseline setup. Now, there's a few things that you really got to try and do. You want to put the arse down and the front of it up, so you can see that there's some pretty big turns here. We can go a little bit higher. We'll drop the back down. Click there, click there. It almost sits too low to the left side. But let's try that. The bump stiffness of everything will handle how it handles rough tracks. This is good for now. If you want a tighter car, you pull the wheel spacing in. We'll drop the fuel and let's cut some laps and see how we go. Now, the biggest change you can make, along with those themes of tight wheel, so if you go wide wheel spacing, it's going to turn really easy. Tight is driving and wants to go, as well as we drop the weight back. That's done. Now the gearing of how quick it revs up. So I like to go normally one higher. We'll see how hard it revs. So as you can see, the car should sure use some tweaking. Oh, as it hit the wall. The car could use some tweaking in order to dial it and make it faster. But generally, on a track that's, you know, not the best, pretty smooth to drive. Still easy enough to turn in, but it really wants to go and doesn't bog down. So if required, let's say that you're just not quick on the top, you're struggling, guys are swamping you, and you need to start running the slick, then you can do so quite easy. It still wants to drive quite well. Sure, sure you lose it on the way out. Need to come up the throttle a little bit, but it's completely doable. Where some of these builds are just so wild in a bad way. And to show you that, let's do this a bit backwards, or let's refresh, put the default baseline setup back on, and we'll see how hard it is to drive. Okay, stock standard baseline. Let's see how it is. Even before, it's actually not too bad, and this video has no purpose. Try right at the top. Now, I actually try my best to try and hold it in a kind of tight position where it wants to grip. But I'm almost having to like counter steer a lot to just make sure it doesn't try and spin around. Now we'll try and run mid. So there you go. Not too bad actually, the baseline setup for this track. Some of them have their own individual ones. Now one of the biggest changes that we haven't touched on yet, and I actually have no idea of where it's positioned, is the wing angle. Now this one is actually, it's not too bad to drive because it is on such a sharp angle. The problem is you're going to lose a lot of speed with this. So we're going to drop that wing angle all the way down so we have less fighting going on. We want to zero out the wing rather than bring it forwards once it's all the way back. So that was really set up to be tight. Push to the ground, heaps of downforce and back. Now that we got free wings, it would be really crazy, really loose. Now let's try the official paid subscription setup and see if we can do any tweaks or apply the same themes to make it just that little bit more better to drive. I can't actually show you, I nearly forgot I can't show you this, but in order to, you know, stay with their terms and conditions, I can't show their setup. But what I will do is tweak it a little bit after this to show you what I would run and what I would change. I'll tell you what I'm changing. Oof. See, even a pro time car, super loose to drive. And the problem is when you hit the slip. Right, making a couple minor tweaks. I'm going to make the teeth one higher. I think I made it lower previously in the video when I was just not thinking properly. Pull the wheel spacing in a little bit. And I want the front up, which is all the way. So I'm going to bring the back down. One in the torsion bar diameter and one in the bar stop. Let's see how this goes. So obviously the build itself wasn't too bad. I mean, it's actually pro, like the pros make it. But if you're new to sprint cars, a lot of wrecks happen just because of cars being too loose. So the whole purpose of this video is how to make it a bit safer. It's not how to go the fastest. Hopefully, I mean, the goal is not to lose time, but the real focus is actually finishing the A main, getting it safety rating up, I rating up. And as I can see already, straight out of the pits, the difference. I'll play them again side by side. But when I left last time, Look at that drive. Just loves it. Oh, that rolled down a bit. This track is getting pretty rough. I mean, not as bad as an A main can get, but and so even though, I mean, it's not super fast, did just get a new record by just changing a few things. So all it does is can tighten up the car a little bit. Now, still a bit loose if we run the inside, but I can be on it more and it's not too bad. Let's try and do a lap one-handed. You lift, you lose. No lift. Let's go for a big a big slider. And into the fence we go. That's going to wrap the video, guys. Remember, arse down, head up, and bring that wheel in for a little bit tighter if you like. Change the gearing if you make it rev a little bit harder, so you put on a higher tooth, or like go up one of the numbers. Then you can run a bit more unique lines. I think that's the best thing about these particular tweaks, is that a lot of the builds, especially if everyone's running the same, have to run, you know, majority of the same lines. They'll be set up for the top, or if a guy knows what they're doing, they'll kind of you know, set up a car for different things. This one's a bit more universal for my liking anyway. You might disagree, but I seem to be able to do some crazy lines. I know that last week on Knoxville, I was coming in on the high dirt, hooking it up, and then shooting across and coming out the center. Really had some quick pace, and hopefully I saved one of those replays, because it was a wild race I had for the win. So if I do have that, I can't remember if I saved it, then I'll be sure to put it at the end of this video. Thanks for watching, guys. I will see you next time.
Sorry, I had to brake for 3.
Yeah, that was my bad.
There you go, I just wanted to get me out and make sure I didn't brake check him. Yeah, hey, get off the track, bro.
I got hit, asshole.
If John's PC fucking catches on fire.
Thank. That's the whole race goes green. I don't think we'd make it. See, just my luck, it'd go green.
The day I have one of these officials go green, I'll fucking shave my head.
We had one go green for 22 laps the other day. We were shitting.
It's impressive. I was at a B class license at 370 or 397, and now I'm back down to 3.5. Dude, you're fucking dog shit. Steven, learn to drive, buddy.
Bunch of peanuts, man. Squirrels. Dude, my wheel was bad. Sorry.
Well, let off the gas. Don't hold on the gas.
Oh, I bounced off the wall, man. I didn't mean that.
I need that yellow on to make it back out for the end of the race.
Oh my god. People.